Hey everybody, it's Matt from Junior Horror Movies, and welcome to day 28 of my 31 days of horror. Yes, review a day for 31 days. So far, it's doing great, and I got another film for you. It was a 2017 film. It was shot in 2012, but it finally got redone and refinished in 2017. And that goes by Asylum of Darkness, put out by Wild Eye. It was originally called Season of Darkness, but it had a name change. But the way this goes, here we go. You have Dwight Stroud. He happens to be in an insane asylum. He happens to be with a doctor named Dr. Shaker. And when he's looking at the doctor, he knows because he's in an insane asylum, he keeps looking dead to him. Very skeleton-like, mold, muck all over his face. Kind of looks like the grandfather from Creepshow when he comes out of the ground. And of course, Dwight's kind of like, I'm in a insane asylum. They all think I'm crazy. I gotta realize that I'm not crazy and just go with the flow. I can't really go on with this. So during the day, he meets up with his friend, who happens to be called Van Gogh. Van Gogh's this tall black guy who likes to paint. He ripped out one of his eyeballs because he's in the asylum as well. But he can paint well. And of course, whatever he paints, something weird happens as well. And of course, like he paints a dead bird and this bird falls. But he also has been painting a lot of these white figures. And he's also been drawing weird like ectoplasmic residue coming from these bodies on. But Dwight's kind of like, whatever. They look cool. Well, during this one scene, he realizes if he paints the doctor, maybe he can escape because he can do something to the painting. Well, of course, Van Gogh starts painting. He starts going a little more insane. He rips out his second eye. And, of course, now Stroud calls in the doctor and everything to take a look at him. Meanwhile, while this is all happening, he runs to get keys and tries to escape. And, of course, he's playing with his new artwork and puts a picture of the doc on and fucks it up and turns him into this weird white-headed figure who rips off his face and there's all blood and guts inside. Well, anyway, he escapes. And he has ended up in a weird cemetery. And he's being chased by other individuals with white faces. But he doesn't know who they are. Well, he ends up meeting up with a individual in a car and causes a car accident. He grabs the individual, thinks I'll save his life, and they end up soul swapping. He ends up becoming into a body of an individual named Artemis. Artemis happens to be a public speaker, having a bad marriage and everything. Well, he now becomes him. He tries to save the marriage, and of course he thinks, well, I'm in a new life. I need to go with this. He still has his own soul and all his psychological issues. He's seeing a lot more. The white skulled people, now they're turning into weird alien creatures. It's all in his mind, supposedly, because he was in the insane asylum. And of course, now he has to figure out how he can stay sane. That's the whole main thing. And it goes pretty long to that part where near the end you get to see what these monsters are actually taking over other people. Like when we die, they try to swap into our soul and they can live the rest of our lives. So you get to see some pretty gnarly special effects out of this. All practical. I was really blown away by the practical effects and the monsters in this movie. It also has Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica. He plays the Dr. Shaker. Tim Thomerson, from the Trancers movies. And you also have Tiffany Shepis in this as well. So you got some good-sized named actors and actresses in this movie. And it starts off very slow. And once it gets near the end, you get to see all the really cool special effects happening, all the weird monster-type creatures, all these body morphing things happening. It's really weird, but it's actually not bad. Once you get through the slow burn part, it gets very interesting. And then when you think it ends, it keeps going. So it's like, okay, I could see where they wanted to end it, but they added more to it. They said they got more money to it, and they had to reshoot from from 2012, I guess. So again, it was originally called Season of Darkness, so they renamed it as Asylum of Darkness. And that's like what the Dr. Shaker looks like in his eyes. That weird creepshow dude. But he also gets some other weird, really weird effects going on here. You have deleted scenes, frame lines, featurette. That's where they do an interview with Jay Waffle. He also did films from the 80s. A shot-and-video movie called Things, and another one called Beyond Dream's Door, which he was a writer and a composer for that movie from the 80s. So we did this film. You can see a lot. It has a lot of weird tones to it. I was kind of like, wow. And again, it's a slow burn. Some of it's going to not make sense for a while. It just keep going. And once it gets going, it's like, oh, okay. Really weird. Some of it, again, just doesn't make sense. I guess we'll just throw it in. But out of a possible 10, I would probably rate this one probably a 7 out of 10. Because all the special effects and the creatures in it, again, were all practical. It was great. I like that aspect of it. Yeah, it was put up by Wild Eye, so you never know with them. Right there. So guys, check out Asylum of Darkness. If you like kind of mental thrillers, this might be up your alley. It was actually a fun watch. Again, starts off very slow, and then it starts to creep up and gets to that weird moment. So definitely check out Asylum of Darkness, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed day 28 of my 31 Days of Horror. Peace.